Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Kajaria Ceramics Limited Q4 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by UBS Securities. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Shaleen Kumar from UBS Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Stephen. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining this call today. Today we have with us from management, Mr. Ashok Kajaria, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Chetan Kajaria and Mr. Rishi Kajaria, Joint Managing Director, and Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer. I will hand over the call now to the management for their opening remarks, and following which we will open the forum for Q&A. So over to you, Mr. Kajaria. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shaleen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I hope and wish that your family, friends, and colleagues have been safe from COVID, and I pray that all of us get over this crisis safely and quickly. I have with my sons Chetan and Rishi, and Sanjeev, our CFO, and Pallavi, Investor Relations, on this con call. The world is passing through a very difficult time from last 1 year, and India is no different. In these diverse circumstances, I want to thank all our team members, dealers, suppliers for delivering one of the best quarters in this difficult time. At the same time, I want to thank all our investors who have stood by us, putting confidence in the management in this difficult time. In these times, our priority is to take care of the Kajaria family as a whole. We have done our level best to get our staff members vaccinated at the office and at the factories. Also, we are setting up an oxygen plant in a government hospital in Rajasthan, a place called Tijara, to help COVID patients. The tile industry witnessed good recovery pickup post quarter 3, along with sustained growth into smaller cities and towns. Q4 also witnessed strong urban recovery in metros, Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities. This led to an impressive volume growth of 39% year-to-year in quarter 4. Our plants have operated at an average capacity utilization of 98% during the quarter. The subsidies continue to do well, registering a PBT of rupees 17.97 crores in quarter 4 FY21. Revenue from bathware business grew by 74% year-to-year from rupees 41 crores to rupees 71 crores in quarter 4 21. Revenue from plywood business grew to rupees 15.34 crores in quarter 4 F21 from rupees 5.78 crores in quarter 4 20. We have attained the highest ever consolidated turnover at rupees 952 crores in quarter 4 F21. This is the highest ever by Kajaria. Absolute EBITDA operating margin increased to rupees 191 crores as compared to rupees 93 crores in quarter 4 20, led by higher capacity utilization, plant efficiency, and improvement in subsidies. EBITDA margin for the quarter stood at 20.04% as compared to 14.32% in the corresponding previous quarter. PAT in quarter 4 21 has increased to rupees 127 crores as against rupees 49.59 crores in quarter 4 F20. Working capital cycle as on 31st of March 21 decreased by 5 days as compared to the last quarter, that is 31st December 20. But if you take it a quarter to quarter corresponding, then it has come down from 73 days to 50 days. With this, I take the opportunity of thanking you all for joining us today. Over to you for Q&A, please.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Achal Lohade from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
performance. My first question is, with respect to the volume growth. Now, last time you had indicated that you're looking at 15-20% kind of a growth. Given now we are past FY21, what is the guidance on the volume growth given the current situation we are in?
You see, last quarter results and in January, actually we had given a 20 to 25% volume growth for the year 21-22, not 15 to 20%. As we are all aware, first week of April, pandemic hit the country much more strongly than what we did last year. So right now we are not giving you any volume growth indications as of stage. We would like to see how situation goes. June is getting much better than in. Let me tell you a little information more. In April, we did a sales of 75% based on our projected targets. May, as we are all aware, the states had literally locked down. Almost 90% of our dealer network was closed. We are still able to do 35%. This month, as things are progressing, we should end up with about 75% of our targeted sales. So at this stage, it's very difficult. COVID is still there. We still have 80,000 cases every day. So it's very difficult. But definitely, I would like to review for July and August. First week of September, I think we'll have a much better idea as to how things are. I can only assure you on behalf of the management two things. One, we will do better than competitors, number one. And we are still not touching upon our sales volume growth of 20 to 25%. We would like to do it if situation permits.
Understood. And in terms of the realization, how do you see the current situation given there is an increase in the gas price? So if you could help us first with the gas cost for own and the JV plant for the fourth quarter on a rupees per SCM, sir, and also the outlook on the realization.
I will first give you the cost of gas. Gas costs have gone up by almost 20% plus. If you compare apple to apple, last year January, March, and this year January, March, the gas prices had already gone up by almost 20%. Gas prices are still at the higher side than what it was last year. That's one. And I am sure that, and we have already increased the prices of ceramic, PVT, and GVT by about 2.5 to 3% in January, March. But always there will be, I must make a note that always there will be a lag time of 45 days between the cost of increase of gas and our price realization. Because our gas price to jo bari hai goes up from 1st of every month. We increase prices, the impact comes, it takes 45 days for the realization to take place. But if you see for the full year, it will nullify whatever the gas cost increases for a simple reason that if the gas price increase is for everybody, not only for Kajaria. So whatever happens, the industry raises prices, we also will raise prices together. And at the same time, over a period of 12 months, if you look at our horizon, it will be nullified.
Understood. Sir, if you could help us with the absolute number, would that be possible, sir?
Absolute number of gas?
Yeah, gas cost in terms of rupees per cubic meter.
Sure. You see, in our three plants, two plants at North, at Secunderabad and Gailpur, we are using natural gas. The prices, quarter 4 was 28.46 per SCM, and the prices for the current quarter is about 32 rupees. So an increase of roughly, you can say about 15%. And in Morbi, the prices went up from 33.60 to 36.13 per SCM. So there also the price increase is close to about 9%.
This is for the fourth quarter YOY, right, sir? Year on year.
For the year, as I said, the gas prices have gone up by 20%, if you take it. Quarter 3, it was about 26.10. Quarter 1 was literally closed. It was about 28 rupees. Quarter 2, it was about 26 rupees.
Understood. This is very helpful, sir. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Omkar Garudare from Shri Consultancy. Please go ahead.
Disconnected.
Congrats on a good set of numbers. My question was regarding the guidance which you gave. My question is more to do with a long-term scenario. Do you think the tables have turned for the home improvement industry as a whole? Because last 2-3 years were very challenging for this industry. So, wanted your view on that.
See, the year ahead will be better than what you have seen last year. Two reasons. One, the pent-up demand is not going anywhere because, see, in work from home, one positive thing is about a lot of people are staying time at home. Earlier, the men folk or the lady folk who was working left house in morning, she came back or he came back in the evening. They never bothered about the home. Today, you are spending a lot of time at home, and something is not functioning. This is not functioning. Earlier, you used to get a message from the other half. But this is not happening. Now you are seeing yourself. So a lot of money will be spent on home improvement, number one. Number two, what we are doing as Kajaria, we are doing 3 expansions in the current year. We are doing 1 expansion at Gailpur plant, which is about 4.2 million square meters of floor tiles at a cost of 60 crores. We are doubling our Kanahasti plant, which is a glaze vitrified plant at a cost of 110 crores. And where the capacity increase will be about 3.8 million square meter because that will be for big size tiles. Third, we are doing another expansion at JEX where we are spending about 80 crores and we will be adding about 4.4 million square meters of capacity. So unless we are positive we will be doing this expansion, we are super positive that the ahead will be very, very positive.
Okay, the second question is on the margins. What kind of margins do you think are sustainable?
On margins, I will not comment today. I will be able to comment only at the end of the second quarter. And the margins will depend on operating leverage based on the opening of lockdowns, volatility in gas prices. So looking at that, I don't think it will be right for me to make any comments right now.
Correct.
Definitely at the end of second quarter, the situation will be very, very clear.
I'm not trying to tell you.
And another thing which we have done, we are working and making sure that the costs don't go up because that is one area we are working very seriously after last year. If you see our numbers of last year, there has been a lot of cost saving. We are sincerely working towards that to make sure that the costs don't go up.
Yeah. I'm not asking you for a short-term guidance on margins, what would be in the second quarter or third quarter. I just wanted to ask what kind of margin trajectory you are looking at, say for the next 2-3 years.
I can't answer that today. The COVID is still there. I will not be able to answer to that today to my own satisfaction.
But like we have performed in the past, I think we'll continue to have the same vision in future.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sneha Talreja from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on good set of numbers, sir. I have 2 questions basically. Firstly, with regards to capacity addition, so we have actually announced capacity addition after a long time. And earlier our outlook was that we would be largely going for outsourcing. So as you rightly said that, you're looking at things in a more optimistic way and, things are looking up and because of which capacity expansion. My question would be, is there any challenges that we are seeing at the outsourcing front or we still continue to see good amount of outsourcing and it's easily available, but despite that we see that, the demand will be higher and we are going for capacity?
See, all the 3 are luckily brownfield expansions, right? So outsourcing is also not an issue. We're already outsourcing, but it is always good to expand, and if we can get additional capacity of our own in our own plants, it will definitely improve our margins. So that's why it's a calculated call which we are taking, and I think we are very bullish about that.
So you mean the own capacity additions will lead to higher margin accretion going forward compared to what we are currently getting out of outsourcing, or is it the product mix which requires more of? Okay. Secondly, my question was you actually answered it earlier that you have taken a price increase of about 2.5 to 3% to pass on the raw material. To pass on the gas prices. So does that mean eventually what all the gas prices have increases happened, it's all absorbed, or you think you'll have to take 1 or 2 further price increase for that gas price to get absorbed?
See, whatever gas prices have gone up is already covered. I must add, for the benefit of everybody, not only gas, paper prices have also gone up very much from first week of March, which is our packing cost. So all this has already been taken into account in the price increases. But if gas prices go up further, because we don't know the correct scenario, the Brent oil is at the high peak. It's about $72 as we speak today. If the gas prices go up, definitely there has to be a price increase further.
Thank you, sir. That was helpful. One last question, if at all, I may ask, is with respect to outlook, given that, currently, last quarter, we, of course, were very optimistic that tier 3, tier 4 kind of places are doing very well. This time, of course, COVID has gone, way more in the interiors compared to even the outskirts. So anything that, you are getting to hear from your dealers, distributors in terms of offtake, and according to you, will it take more time to, for sales to pick up compared to last year's first cycle? Any thoughts there?
See, what happened last year, as we are all aware, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 supported us very much in the first 3 months after pandemic, that is April, May, June. Then the metros came in from October, things changed. This time, the first 3 months are tough for a simple reason. April, as I said, was 75% of the sales volume that we targeted. May was literally closed. Under 90% of the dealers were closed, still we did 35%. And June, things have started looking up. You see, the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, as we are all aware, pandemic had hit very, very strongly. But because of serious lockdown by all the states, not the national lockdown, serious lockdown by all the states, things have started looking up. Things have started moving. As unlock happens, because unlocking still has to take place in many of the southern states, West Bengal and Odisha. As unlocking takes place, things will get back to normal in the month of July. We are sure about it. And you will see a different perspective from July onwards. So the correct answer, if you honestly ask me, will only come at the end of the second quarter.
Sure. Thanks, sir. That was helpful, and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Girish Chaudhary from Spark Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question, and congrats on a good performance. A couple of questions. Firstly, on the bathware division.
Can you speak little louder?
Yeah. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the bathware business, last 2 quarters we have been hitting around 80 to 86 crores. For the year, around 210 crores. So what is the outlook here, both in terms of revenues and margins? And what are the investments being planned in this division? You did announce the capex on the tiles division, but anything here which is on the cards?
So bathware did about 210 crores last year in FY 2021. And our vision for the next 3 years is to touch about 500 crores. Even this year, we're looking at an optimistic growth for the bathware division. And in terms of capacity, right now we are okay. As the time goes along, luckily, whatever we need to do, we have the existing plants have the capacity to further expand. So as the time comes, we'll do it in the existing plants only. So right now, there's not a major capex involved in the bathware business.
Okay. The reason is because if I see the faucets capacity, this has been running at 100% for 2 consecutive quarters. So any reason why we are not yet starting the brownfield?
You see, the faucet capacity is currently at about 10 lakh pieces per annum, right? As Rishi was rightly saying, the last 6 months the plant has operated at close to 90 to 100% of the capacity, as you rightly said. With little addition, we are going to watch Q2 with little addition of machines, with probably an investment of about 10-15 crores. This plant will take us to about 30 lakh pieces per year.
Yes, in the existing plant only, we can easily increase the capacity in a space of 3 to 4 months.
And capacity is going to be very, very less.
Very, very less.
Okay. Great. And in terms of margins for this division, if you can give your outlook.
So Girish, as the capacity go up, the margins will continue to go. We have already set our team in place. So the same team will be able to sell for next 2-3 years. We don't have to hire any more person. The initial setup cost is already done. So as going forward, the margin will only going to be higher and higher.
As the top line continues to grow, the margins will be better. Right now, base is very low. So as the top line increases, it will only get better.
And just to add one more information, in bathware, we have increased prices by 10% effective from 1st of May, because as you all might be aware, the prices of brass has gone up.
Got it. Sir, on the second question on the capex bit, capex on if I just do on a per million square meter or per MSM, the AP plant capex seems higher at around 29 crores. versus some of the other plants, Gailpur and also the Morbi one? Any reason for the difference?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the Tirupati plant, the capex is higher because we are taking the latest machinery there with a value addition. So there we want to increase. We're going to make all the big size tiles. And it's a GVT plant, and even the realizations of that plant will also be better. Yes, the capex is more, but the realizations will also be better because you're going to be making only value-added tiles there, big sizes there. That's why the capacity of 3.8 million square meters less, but your overall turnover and the realization of the plant will be much better.
Got it. Thank you and all the very best, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lavanya from UBS Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to know your view on how the exports overall for the whole overall industry, how exports have been, given that only India has been impacted by this second wave, how the overall market or overall industry is growing.
Exports are still continuing from Morbi. They will continue to do so. For a simple reason, they have proximity to the port. India has established its market abroad, and we as India are very, very competitive as a country. So exports are continuing irrespective of COVID, except the period of probably lockdown when some production suffered. Because this time, if you are aware, lockdown did not stop. State lockdowns did not affect any transportation. Number one, they also allowed the industry to continue as long as you can sell. So as far as the industry was concerned, there was no stoppage from the state, and transportation continued throughout the pandemic. So that was one very positive thing which has happened. So exports continue. At Kajaria, we are doing, as you are aware, hardly 3% of our production is exports. So Kajaria will be more or less a domestic focus market. But in one of the units, our JV units at Kosa, as we explained last time to all of you, we have put up one line for glaze vitrified, which is only for exports.
Okay, got it. So as we see that even Morbi players are planning to expand their capacity, so do you think that exports and domestic demand going ahead will be able to absorb the whole, the whole capacity will be addressed, or do we see the pressure because of the demand issues again? So capacity is being increased everywhere. So how do you see that going ahead?
I would say a good question. Two things. One, all the expansions have been delayed by minimum of 6 months. One. Two, exports will further go up from India as anti-China sentiment wave, lot of anti-dumping duties on China. Exports will continue to grow, and when it comes, the market should also expand. Right now, as we are all aware, 15 months of pandemic has a lot of damage to the country as an economy. But as markets come back to normal, near normal, the markets will grow, and that additional capacity should be absorbed in the domestic as well as export market, I would say.
Okay. If I may ask one last question, do we see any change in the product mix going ahead, or more or less our product mix will be the same as in now? Any change in the products that we are seeing?
See, product mix will more or less be the same. Any new product will come, it's a matter of time, but there's no major product change.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about Kajaria, our revenue mixes are 40% is ceramic tiles. For us, 32% is PVT and 28% is GVT. As we discussed, we are expanding in all the three divisions, so I think our more or less our mix will be the same going forward as well.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you so much.
And in South, as we discussed, we are adding the value-added tiles, the big slabs. So that will further improve our product portfolio.
Yeah, that's the reason I was asking this question with the South, which we are expecting. If we are expecting any change in our product mix higher towards the value-added.
So we are going to continue making glaze vitrified tiles, but in that only we're going to introduce some bigger sizes. That's why our capex is high, and our the overall volume of is less, and sales realization will be much higher.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sonali Salgaonkar from Jefferies India. Please go ahead.
Sir, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations on a great set of numbers.
Thank
So
you.
my first question is, a little bit more broader one. What is the key differences? What are the key differences that you are experiencing right now between the first wave of COVID last year and the second wave? For example, last year there was, as we understand, a complete shutdown on construction activities. But is it correct in understanding that this time many states allowed construction activities with on-site accommodation and a little limited labor? But the construction really did not stop as completely as it was in the last COVID wave. Is that right?
You're right. Construction is still going on. That is why, in spite of a major lockdown, we still did about 35% in May, and some projects are still also going on. So yes, construction work is still going on, maybe in a slow mode, but yes, construction work is going on.
See, another thing which happened last pandemic, although there was a total lockdown, the dealers were closed from the front and operated from the back door because there was less fear. This time, as we are all aware, it hit us very hard in April, May, June. The fear was so much that even when it was allowed, they said, we will not open right now, we will open after a while. The dealer also didn't want to go to a shop and open. And secondly, he said there are no customers coming, because the fear was very much. As it starts easing down, things are getting back to normal, as I said, and we are hoping to do 75% because things are getting back to normal. And unless the dealer opens, you can't sell. Everything was open. Transportation was open, plants were allowed to open, but who do you sell? 90% or 95% of the dealer shops were closed in the local lockdowns, state lockdowns. So that was the scenario. This time the people really got scared because somebody or the other relations or the family members died in COVID. The thing was so serious that people were very scared. Now they are trying to get off the ground.
Understand, sir. So, and what about the urban versus rural mix, in the sense that last year, as you mentioned some time back in the conversation, that the rural was quite strong. But this time, as we understand, the urban is expected to rebound back better. Is it correct?
No, I don't agree. I think metro will be whatever it was last year. Tier 1, 2, 3 will do better. It's a question of another few days. The moment life gets back to normal there, they will definitely perform because there is a lot of work happening in those areas.
Understand, sir. So my second question is regarding the distribution. I mean, the company has penetrated deeper across cities and townships over the past 2-3 years. Could you help us understand what is your current distribution and how much of your sales are being contributed by exclusive dealerships? And where do you envisage that going, say, in the current 2-3 years?
See, Kajaria has 1,700 dealers. Our vision was, which we have shared, I think, a couple of times with you people, that to have a dealer in every Lok Sabha area, which is 542. Right, almost 150 Lok Sabha constituencies are still left out. And Kajaria had a vision in April 20 to get into it and get a dealer everywhere. That was only possible because of the introduction of GST on 1st of July 2017. Because of pandemic, things didn't work like that, but I'm sure that as soon as things become normal, Kajaria would like to have a dealer in every single Lok Sabha constituency across the country, which means another 150. But also I would like to add, last year, in spite of pandemic, we have added about 200 plus dealers, which is a normal dealers, of course, because you know when you get exclusive dealers, you have to get their showrooms done and all that as per your standards, which was literally not possible because of the movement of the people, display people and all that. Even the dealer didn't want that. So once things get back normal, I think this exclusive dealer process will continue further.
Understand. Then what about market share gains? I mean, exports are still going strong, so we continue to be quite strong on the domestic front. But market shares from the smaller unbranded marginal players, are you continuing to see market share gains for the products of Kajaria all across the product mix? And lastly, what are our YTD price hikes? So you mentioned 2.5 to 3% ceramic price hikes and about 10% bathware price hikes since 1st of May. But year to date from Jan, what could be our cumulative price hikes across both the segments? That's it from my side.
Okay, that's too many questions at one time. Still, I try to answer. See, as far as the price hikes are concerned, I go from the last 10 chicken. Price hikes are concerned, as gas prices went up, as I said, from January, to the extent of about 20%, 15 to 20%. We had to hike the prices, so we started off with first polished vitrified, then we did ceramic, and then we did GVT. And the impact was 3% for ceramic and polished vitrified, and 2.5% for glazed vitrified. But here what has happened, just to tell you, the raw material prices of brass has gone up by close to about 50% in the last 1 year. We had two price hikes. First was on 1st of January, where we increased the prices by about 6% for this sanitary fittings, and now by another 10% from 1st of May. As far as sanitary ware is concerned, we also had a price hike from 1st of May by about 6%, because there two things happen. One, the cost of transportation has gone up, we sell free. And secondly, the cost of gas has gone up in Morbi. So these are the two factors, and the cost of paper has gone up. So these are the three factors which asked us to make sure that the cost goes up.
And coming to market share, your point was that, see, the market didn't grow last year. It was probably a negative growth last year. We still did our same turnover, almost same turnover as last year, 2,780 crore as compared to 2,800 crores. So yes, the market share is being improved gradually.
And we don't have the number of Q4 of all the organized players, so we can't comment. See, every quarter we have done gradually, done better than the previous quarter. And in the fourth quarter, it is not year on year, but sequentially we have grown 10%, 12%.
Right. So you're hopeful that the trend will continue?
Trend should continue, barring this first 3 months where there is some uncertainties. So Mr. Gajaria also guided that he will be able to guide you only after the things settle down.
Great, sir. Thank you so much.
By not giving guidance, that doesn't mean that we are not positive about it.
Yes, sir. Understand. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Himesh from Sequent Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations for the great set of numbers. So my question is, what is the maximum turnover that we are expecting from the capex that we have planned?
You see, I give you one by one. Like this Jaipur expansion, we are spending about 60 crores, and we should be getting a turnover of roughly about 135, 140 crores. As far as Malutana, we are expanding. As far as Dex, we are expanding a capacity of 4.4 million square meters of polished vitrified tile, and we should give a turnover of roughly about 160, 165 crores, 175 crores. As far as Kalahasti, where we are expanding with a capex of 110 crores with a capacity of increase of 3.8 million square meters, that should give a turnover of about 200 crores. 200 crores. And all are, as Rishi said earlier, all are brownfield expansions.
Okay. And how many, like in the percentage terms, how many dealers are open as of today?
How many dealers we have? We have currently 1,700 dealers across India, out of which 1,500 are, you can say, operative dealers.
Okay.
On an average, like I just said a few minutes back, we have added last year about 200 dealers. But at the same time, those who not perform, we also throw them out or ease them out, whatever word you can say. So we have already literally eased out about 150 dealers. So net addition last year was only 50 dealers. As the economy opens up, on an average now with the capacities we are talking about, we should add about 150 dealers a year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Ravi from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi sir, good evening and congrats on great set of numbers. If you could just throw some more light on the demand, trends that you have seen in FY21, both for domestic as well as export market.
See, I already said, I think this question has already been answered, but still for the sake of replying, I'll reply. In FY 2021, we all know that first 3 years was a washout. Right. And as situation grew, every quarter sequentially, the number went up, sales number went up. First 3 months, it was supported by tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And after that, from 1st of October, the metros also joined in. The numbers, as you can see, has been better and better and better. In spite of 3-month lockdown, we could achieve a sale of 2780 crores, which is only 2% less than what we did in 1920. Bottom line has been much, much stronger. So looking forward, I think we'll come back to the same scenario. Demand will be very positive. Last year it was a total lockdown, but this year since a state-wide lockdown was there and started around 15th or 20th of April, we don't see that kind of a damage happening what happened in the first quarter last year.
Okay. No, I was talking more on front of the industry. What is your expectations of the demand number for the industry in FY21, both domestic and export markets?
See, last year, if you look at it, the exports grew. Exports grew from close to about 9,000 crores to 11,000 crores. The domestic industry was down by close to about 20% because in Morbi, if we are all aware, till June nothing worked, and then they started gradually opening up from July 20. So the local market was down about 20% and exports grew like that. This year, in the scenario, exports, as I said earlier, will definitely grow. It should grow from another 11,000 to 13, 14, 15,000 crores because they are seriously working on it. And as far as the local is concerned, because of pandemic, it started off in April, continues till date. It's very difficult to assess what will be the scenario overall for the industry as of.
Okay.
Too early. Second quarter,
I understand.
I would like to address all and say that second quarter will be more informative because if you ask the same question again, I won't have the answer because simple reason that second quarter will be more informative.
Right. And sir, on these capex which you enumerated, the Gail project and the third one, what is the timeline you are looking at? All of these capex would be spent in FY22 or they would be split over 2 years?
All the expansions will be completed in this financial year, number one.
Last quarter.
And last quarter of this financial year, number one. Number two, overall capex this year we are looking at about 250 to 275 crores because some of the import payments go to next year. But all the expansions will definitely be completed by end of this year.
Okay, great. So FY23, the contribution would start kicking in from these expansions too.
Yeah, it will start happening. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Right. So your revenue growth target of could remain in the higher side.
You have already said that.
Yeah, great. Thanks, sir. I'll come back. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Adesh Mehta from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead. Mr. Adesh Mehta, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question, please.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on good set of numbers. Sir, just wanted to understand directionally, will we continue investing in new businesses like plyboards? I'm seeing that there is some resolution to increase your capital allocation towards that kind of business. So just wanted to get some sense on that, sir.
See, plywood last year we did a turnover of about 39 point some crores. And I would like, Chetan is here, I would like him to talk about it. Yeah. Sorry.
So basically in 2021, we did 39 crores of turnover in the plywood segment. This year we're targeting more than between 80 to 90 crores. Reason being we're also adding laminates as a vertical outsourcing from Morbi. So the extra capital required is for the working capital requirements for jumping the turnover from 40 to 85-90 crore. And going forward, we also see it increasing more. As the GST coming in, more and more unorganized players are getting squeezed and the share of the organized sector is increasing rapidly. So yes, we are seeing a very positive outlook going forward in this vertical.
Got it, sir. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Jain from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and most of my questions have been answered. Again, wanted some clarity on the capex front. Like you announced this capex for FY22. Does the management already have a midterm plan in their mind where more of new announcement on the capacity side for say in FY23 or FY24?
No. At this stage, no. Let this be done. Then we come back. You see, we have to grow every year, right? In volume terms. Same question probably you asked me at the end of the second quarter or third quarter, that how you are going, Mr. Kajaria. So as we process things, as the market opens up, because as we said, pandemic is still on, so we will plan everything for 22, 23 at the end of the second quarter or third quarter.
And you'll appreciate this already a bold move. What we are doing is 3 expansions. It's already a very bold move because we are very positive and very confident that yes, we'll be able to absorb this production and we have a very positive outlook towards it. So as the time progresses, in future when we need to, we'll expand more.
After these questions.
But I think our first target is to get this all completed in this financial year.
Sure. Yeah, definitely we will appreciate the capex plans. And secondly, taking from the previous participant, what we would want to understand is that you highlighted 90% of the dealerships were closed during the month of May. How much of these are already back in the market now? And how has been the response from these dealerships that have opened? Are they, just stocking up the products very, excitedly, aggressively, or is it only a slow kind of a response from the dealers that have reopened now?
It's wherever the economy is opening up, it's a very positive response. Let me give you a data where things have not opened up. One is Tamil Nadu, Kerala, where once a week they are operating. Karnataka, they have started working only from today till 2 o'clock. Then Andhra, and then Maharashtra, which is slowly opening up. Odisha is still locked down. They will open only from 18th. And West Bengal, it is slowly opening up. Other than that, you can say most of the states have already opened. Maybe for limited hours, things have started moving well. I already made a statement in my earlier remarks that we are looking at a scenario where Kajaria should be doing 75% of the target. And,
okay, great.
July, we are looking at a near normal scenario as the economy opens up.
Sorry, July, what are you looking at?
Near normal.
Near normal. Okay, understood. And one more question. How much was your advertising spent for FY21 and what would be your expectation in FY22?
See, last year, let me tell you about 1920 also, we spent close to 90 crores. In FY 2021, because of pandemic, we really cut it down and we spent about 46 crores total. This year, we are looking at a scenario where we should spend about 70 crores.
70 crores?
Yeah.
Okay. And how much would have been your increase in your freight and forwarding costs and other admin expenses?
See, that we don't pay freight.
We don't pay freight. We pay freight on raw materials, but as things, you see, you can't generalize, just make one statement. We are all seeing that the prices of freight is going up every day. It started at 60 rupees diesel. Today it is at 100 rupees in 9 months or 10 months. How can you calculate that today, tell me? So as all this impact happens, as I said earlier, 3 major impacts are there. One is the gas price, second is the paper price which has gone up, and third is internal freight and raw materials. On external, we pay X factory, so the freight is to the dealer. As that scenario changes happening, we'll work on the prices. So it's very difficult to quantify at this stage what will be the freight, what will be this, very difficult.
Okay, sir, understood. One macro question, if I would be allowed to ask.
Please.
What is your... No, sir. So what would be your sense of where the industry is really heading towards? Because we are seeing the prices are getting increased and is also being absorbed by the end consumer. So is the industry in this crisis time moving more towards expensive products and more of value-added products? Has the buying propensity or propensity to spend has really increased?
Let me give you a few data. You will have the answer yourself. Steel prices May 20 to May 21 has gone up by 50 to 100%. Non-ferrous metals from May 20 to May 21 has gone up by 50 to 70%. Plastic has gone up from 50 to 70% in 1 year. Paper prices have gone up from 50 to 100%. All the industries are doing well. हमारे यहाँ तो the prices have hardly gone up by 2.5 to 3%, maybe another 3, 4, 5%. We are thinking, can the market absorb? The market absorbs steel prices of 50 to 100%. The market absorbs the non-ferrous prices. How can you say that 2.5, 3% is a much price? I am not able to understand. All costs are going up everywhere in the country. As the situation demands, the prices have to go up. Simple.
That is why I was asking, because the cost of constructing a house is now escalating, a lot. So would there be a breaking point wherein this demand?
I don't have to to say anything. I have given you all the answers. You have all the answers.
So thank you, sir.
I forgot to mention, cement prices have gone up by 50% in 1 year.
Yeah. Sure, sir. Thank you so much, and all the best for the future quarters.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Agarwal from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations for a good result. I joined the call about 30 minutes late, so please pardon me if the question is repetitive. My first question was on the capex side. So it's the overall capex of 250 crores for a 12.4 million square meter capacity. Just wanted to know the capex per plant differs, on a million square meter unit basis. If I look at the amount spent.
We have already given detail in our presentation. You can check that.
Yeah, Rahul, don't mix that. All the three plants are making different products, as said by Rishi earlier. Ceramic tile have a different capex. Polished vitrified tile have a different capex. And glazed vitrified tile have a different capex. And in this case of glazed vitrified tiles, we are moving towards bigger products, which are more value added. So looking at that, this is how the capex is planned. Don't club the capex and the value and then divide. You will have the wrong answer.
Perfect. That's what I was wondering, sir. Thank you so much for the clarification.
Yes.
And one thing was, when I look at the capex, is it also including land cost here in any of these plants?
They're all brownfield expansions.
They're all brownfield expansions. As you joined late, no issue, but they're all brownfield expansions.
Okay, perfect. And just one last question on the gas pricing side. So just wanted to know if you could throw light. Last quarter you discussed this, that the gas pricing you have at different plants have long-term and short-term both. But broadly speaking, is the volume pre-decided and the pricing changes quarterly? Is that how it works?
No, my dear. You are aware gas prices are You see, as far as GAIL is concerned, gas prices are determined every month. As far as Morbi are concerned, they decide the price as and when they like, which is affecting all the people. And that is nothing in our hands. We have fixed the quantities, but pricing is not in our hands.
Okay, so the quantities are pre-decided as per a plant basis, is it?
Yes. They are flexible, we are flexible, but prices, every first of the month they decide based on the various factors of Brent and all that.
Perfect, got it. Thank you, all the best. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jigar Shah from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi sir, congratulations for the good set of numbers. My question was more to do with plywood and laminate. So I wanted to understand the rationale behind entering the laminate segment before we are breaking even in plywood and reaching at some particular levels. So would you like to highlight whether it will be complementary to our plywood sales or it will give us more revenue in wood panel segment? How do we look at that?
Ketan, will you answer that?
Okay. Yes, please. So basically, laminate is a complementary product, and we're outsourcing this from Morbi with zero capex. Also, the gross margin in laminate will be much higher than plywood, and this would additionally add to our top line and bottom line and help us increase the turnover and the break-even much faster. Also, this is a 6,000 crore market. 4,500 is domestic, 1,500 is exports. Out of the 4,500 crore domestic, 100 crore is unorganized. So there is a lot of scope to grow in this vertical, especially with the GST coming in and the cash flow of the unorganized players being tightened up. There is a lot of scope for new players to get more market share in this vertical, which is again part of the wood paneling industry, plywood, laminates and MDF.
So are we expecting break even in plywood this year?
No, last year we had a loss of 10 crores in the plywood division. Okay. This year we should come down to around 5.5, and next year, which is 22-23, we'll start making money little bit, break even / making little bit of money next year.
Right. And my next question would be the increasing capacity across the industry. All the top players are increasing the capacity.
I have already answered that point to one of the earlier speakers.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is a follow-up from the line of Achal Lohade from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. Just one question in terms of the working capital. So how do we see, I mean, we have done a great commendable job on the working capital. Do we see this stabilizing here, or is there further scope to reduce? And is there any element of channel financing for us, or are you seeing, channel financing prevalent in the industry now?
First of all, we have no channel financing, number one.
Right.
Number two, if you look at March 20, it was 73 days. December 20, it was 55 days, and now it's at 50 days. I think it will vary between 50 to 55 days. Sometimes, when the trouble time is there, like in pandemic, this time it will go up at the end of June.
Right.
Some stocks going up, but normal quarter working, it will be between 50 to 55 days.
Understood. And, with respect to cost reductions, you did highlight about the A&P, but what kind of cost reductions did we see in FY21 put together, all excluding A&P? What is the extent of cost reductions we have seen, and like traveling and conveyance, etc. How much of that you think is more permanent, or or how much would come back?
See, cost reduction will be there. 2-3 things are going to happen. Once as we are saying, that we increase the turnover by 15, 20, 25%, whatever the volume growth. The manpower cost will not go up. In this sense, proportion will not go up. Some increase of cost will be there on manpower. Manpower per se will not go up.
Headcount will not go up.
Yeah.
Headcount will not go up.
Headcount will not go up.
Increase will be due to increments only.
Yeah, number one. Number two, as we said just now, a few minutes back, that 19-20 it was 90 crores. The year which went by was 46 crores. This year looking at 70 crores. Third, traveling will also come down. Traveling will also come down because now most of the business is being done by phone. And with the pandemic still there, here and there, people are afraid of traveling themselves. So traveling overall in 2021 had come down drastically. This year also I feel that it will not go up much because people would like to, even the dealers or our people are used to getting over phone or Zoom, what it is. So the traveling cost will also come down. And I think by and large, with this, we are working on, I think, all fronts. Yeah.
Understood. And just one more question, sir, with respect to the gas cost. You did highlight that, fourth quarter, it's about 32 rupees for our plants outside Gujarat. What is it already now as we speak in the month of June?
Same, 32 rupees. April, May, June, it is around 32 rupees.
And given the current crude price, how much do you think it will go up at the current crude, assuming current price?
At current crude also it will be 32 rupees. I tell you why. Current crude is not going to change much difference, but unfortunately, what has happened, a lot of gas capacity abroad has been shut down because of the lower volumes earlier. So that the spot gas prices have also gone up very high. That was about $6-7 about 6 months back. It has gone up close to about $8.5 to $9. So that will probably impact, but we don't know at this stage today. It's early. Brent is not making much difference right now. Brent has already taken into account at $70.
Understood, sir. And just one more question, sir, if I may. With respect to this is more from longer term and not really I'm looking at the current year, sir. Given the way the capacity additions are happening in Morbi or otherwise, and the kind of demand improvement we are looking at, is it fair to say that we are, the pricing behavior or ability to pass on the cost inflation is much higher this time around compared to say 2, 3, 5 years ago? Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, it is fair assessment. Why? Because earlier the gas prices in Morbi were not moving much. Now they are higher because of single reason that GSPC is buying a lot of spot gas. If spot gas prices go up, their gas prices will go up for the Morbi players. And earlier they were in coal. If you look back 2 years back, they were in coal. So it was a different story. Now everybody is on gas, whether it's Morbi or Kajaria or anybody, or Somani, all are on gas. So the moment their prices go up, they will also increase prices, so will we. So that flexibility has come now, which was not there before 2 years.
Understood. And sir, just last question again, in terms of the demand.
Yeah, I have to go also, please. I have a lot of meetings, so I think we have enough discussions.
Let's have the last question
from someone else. Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We take the last question from the line of Ashim Berde from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, evening everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. So just wanted to understand that would Morbi as a hub continue to largely focus on exports, or would they also want to target the domestic market? Because I would assume margins in the domestic market would be higher for Morbi as well. And if they do want to have a mix of domestic exports, if Morbi wants to have a mix of domestic and exports, how do you expect ground level dealers to react? Would they look to Morbi as well, or would they stick with larger brands? So I presume, Morbi's balance sheets have strengthened over FY21, and perhaps they can be more competitive in the domestic market. So any sense how dealers would react, that would be great.
See, as far as your question is concerned, let me be very honest. Morbi is catering to exports and also domestic. You can literally say as of now, literally 40 to 50% is for exports and 40 to 50% continues to be in the domestic market. It will also be like that. In future, whatever capacities are being added on, let us say 50% will go to exports and 50% will be catering to the domestic market. See, there are certain areas, even if we want an organized manufacturer like Kajaria, Somani, Johnson, we cannot reach. They are able to reach, whatever the reason may be, because of cheaper or whatever it is. So looking at that balance will always be there. And also that keeps us on our toes.
Okay, so on the dealer level front, there is even at the current juncture, there is a healthy mix of Morbi and the organized players, and that balance will still continue going forward.
Yes. But secondly, what we at Kajaria are doing, we are trying to get more exclusive dealers in the last 3 years that process started. Because of pandemic, it slowed down. The moment this thing neutralizes to a certain extent, we'll have more exclusive showrooms. Like out of 1,700 dealers, I said 1,500 are operative. Out of that, about 300 to 350 are exclusive Kajaria showrooms, which in 3 years we would like to take it to 600.
Okay.
That's the vision of Kajaria.
Great, sir. Okay, so thanks. That was the only question I had. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for organizing this conference. I want to thank you, all the people who were there today, listened to us with a lot of patience, gave us an opportunity to talk about Kajaria. I thank each and every one of the investor who is there today on behalf of myself, Chetan and Rishi, and I thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of UBS Securities, that concludes this conference. We thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.